Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to my first stream. Not my first stream, but my first stream building. Excuse me. A gaming API. Never built one before. Context is that I'm currently transitioning professionally in employment from a front-end developer into a full-stack developer. And the current company I'm working at uses PHP and Laravel. And I've currently been on sort of a employee progress project where I build something or some sort of API using Laravel framework. So I built a gaming API, very basic. I totally enjoyed it. I'm obsessed with coding since I first started doing it around about 8 years ago. I've been doing it in employment for 6 years as a front-end developer. So, yeah, kind of wanted to stream for the longest time. Couldn't think of a decent subject. So hopefully, this one might pique a bit of interest into people learning or wanting to learn how to code, and kind of like me on that pathway. So, yeah, first thing we need to do is get into our, is it code stream projects? Okay. So anybody that doesn't know coding or doesn't understand what I'm doing at any sort of point, just comment and I'll try and explain as much as I can whilst I'm going. So I do have a little bit of a roadmap we can be looking at. I will keep bringing this up so we can see it. Okay. So, first things first, we need to install Laravel somewhere. Here we go. So for people not familiar, this is sort of the terminal. I am using Mac. I know that might be a sort of sacrilege, but I am using it, and I'm in between gaming PCs at the minute, so I've not got a Windows machine at the minute. So we'll see. Can't connect to chat for some reason. Don't know if that's the same for everyone else. Okay. Right. Getting distracted. Yeah. For anyone who's not familiar, this is a terminal. Windows does have one, a Windows PowerShell, and you can install different versions of that terminal as well. Bash and things like that. I have a Bash terminal. And in here we can run, these are called Composer commands because we're learning Laravel. Composer, it's the package installer that we're going to use to install Laravel to our computer to use for our project as the backend language model or framework. So let's copy this. And we're going to call our project Game Stash. Gaming API database, Game Stash. Makes sense to me. So we'll let Laravel install all of this. Won't connect to my chat for some reason, Streamlabs. Anyway, okay. Let us just see what is next. So 79 packages installed. We've run the vendor publish command, or PHP as. Set our application key. Create the database. Or here, we've created the database by creating a table, and then we've run the migrations, which has created that database. So if we now should be able to CD into GameStash. Here we go. So now I should be able to open up Visual Studio Code. Yep. And here we have the project directory. We're not going to do that, actually. Okay, so on a couple of minutes, and we have a project. I'm not going to go through and explain what everything is, because if I'm being completely honest, I'm learning this as well, and I'm not 100% sure what everything is yet, so I don't want to explain something and it can be completely wrong, even though I am going to do that at some points. But yeah, I'm not going to go through what this is that we're looking at, but hopefully as I start to code, that will make sense, especially to people already with PHP knowledge or with Laravel knowledge. So yeah, hopefully it'll make sense as we go. That's my plan. Okay, so we've installed Laravel. We've now CD'd into our project. So we should have run these first. Oh no, sorry. This is what we could have run. Either or you may be able to create a Laravel project by globally installing it, but I've just installed it into a local folder. So this is my local folder, or we've called that GameStash. So now we just need this, which should run our server for us. With any luck, and it does. So I can copy this, and I will just open a new tab, as we've got a server running on this one, and I can run commands on this one. So we shall move into GameStash, check the server still running, into the browser. And for anyone who doesn't know or is unfamiliar with Laravel, we are running a local server on our computer, which is sort of running here. As you can see, it's updating live as we're viewing that page, and we're running it on 127.0.0.1 port 8000, local host with port 8000. So if we go to that local host port 8000, we should see this Laravel app, which is correct. We're reviewing that locally through our server, which is running here, and we're getting the Laravel. This is like just a front-end welcome page. You can view all the documentation and things like that from here. So yeah, pretty good. Made some good progress. So what I'd like to build, getting back to our roadmap for this project, let's say. So we're using Laravel, which is what we've just done. We've sort of installed it, but this is a little bit vague, to be honest. But I kind of want to build an API, a gaming API or a gaming related API and very basic, which is all I've done in my sort of project in employment, is build a very basic API, which just contains a developer and a games table. So obviously we've got video game developers and then the video games themselves. So I need to convert or install the scaffolding for the API. So one way we can tell that that is currently not installed is we haven't got the api.php file that you get when you create an API through Laravel. We've got the web PHP, which currently is that welcome page that we're seeing. So / for anyone unfamiliar with coding is like a home page, or usually in the framework that you use, if it's got routing involved, which is what we're looking at here, the routes folder. / usually means just the home page, and then you can have like / about for the about page, / contact us for the contact page, etc. So we've got a very basic scaffolding here. We do need to go ahead now and install the Laravel API. So I'm pretty sure to do that, we can use it isn't Breeze, it is it's not the database either, is it? So I'm pretty sure the command that we need is on the Sanctum page. Okay, here we go. You may install Laravel Sanctum via the install API artisan command. So we don't need Sanctum, or we will do eventually. But Sanctum's for user and app authorization. So if you've ever used an API before yourself, you need an API key. YouTube API is shut down a little bit now compared to what it used to be, but what you would do is, as a developer, you would apply to the YouTube API sort of documentation, fill in a little details form, credentials form, and then they issue you with usually an API key and sort of a client secret and things like that. So that is what Sanctum, or Laravel Sanctum, is used for, and user authentication with inside your API or front-end app that you can create through Laravel. Sanctum is for the authorization, login and log out, etc., things like that. But we really just want the command to install the API. There might be a better way to do this, but I'm not quite sure of that, so I'm just going to do it the way I know I've done it before. So as you can see now, it's sort of creating the scaffold API files that we need for Laravel. So let's just check on that. So would you like to run the migrations? Yes. Okay. So we've now got, well, let's see if our code has changed. Yes, we have a new file in the routes folder, api.php. Cool. Okay. So as you can see, it's like an auth route to auth our users, but we're not going to have users just yet. We're just going to build the API, get some data, some game data, some developer data, and go from there. Because for the minute, I just want to set it up basically, get some basic data in there, and then from that we can just add complexity as we go and as we like. So we'll get to that basic level first. So the next thing we need to do is, I mean, if we go from our very basic roadmap, create the developers table, so we also need to create routes so we can view this data as well. But the first thing is a little bit technical. is connect it to the database. So I'm going to use an application called Table Plus. You can get this on Windows, I think. But I have tried to install MySQL Workbench for Mac and it just fails. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm hoping I can figure it out in the meantime. So this is a free application. I mean, you can see I'm using the free trial, and it is very limited. It's like a text-based or string-based sort of database, if I'm even saying that correctly. I am new to databases. I've only just started looking into them and how to create them and things like that. But I do know what I kind of need to do to connect this to our application so we can view the data and we can see if it's going into the database successfully and things like that. So we are using SQLite. Table Plus is an SQLite based database. So we'll create that. And it's looking for a database path. So it's local, that's correct. So we can select a file which I can show you is this file here, database.sqlite, but we have to find that within our folder structure. So we'll select the file. We'll go into desktop, into projects, coding, GamerStash, into the same database folder that we just located here. Oops. And find database, and there's the file that we're looking for. So we'll open that and we shall save connect. And cool, we've even got a users table it's created for us. Let's just take a look at that in the code. Migrations, create users table, so email, name, email, password. So if we go back to the database, name, email, password, and these are sort of timestamps that Laravel creates as well when database data sets and data types are created within the database, which is good. We've got that going. So it doesn't take long, but it's now the painful part of trying to get some routes created. So let's just go back to the Laravel documentation and we will go to database, getting started. So I'm just going to check this information that it's saying to check in the .m file, the environment file. So let's just double check that is correct. So that's literally all we need. If we was to use a different database, we could add MySQL here and then all the credentials to MySQL database here. But for now, I'm pretty sure that is correct and we don't need to change that. So getting back to the Laravel documentation. Whatever that is. So we do need, okay, so we don't need any of this. What we need is routes. So let's okay, this is what we need. So because we're creating a CRUD database, so we're going to be able to create a developer or a game, update that developer or that game, and delete the developer or a game. We're going to need multiple different root types. So post would be to create, get would be to display and show the data, put or patch is used to update a developer or a game or data, and delete obviously is explanatory. And I've never used the options route or the match yet, but I am sure we are going to explore them. So what I want to do is possibly let's first create some models, so like a developer model and what that is going to look like. So I'll just go back to the search and let's find it here. Okay. So this is what we want. We want to make a model for a developer. So it's PHP Artisan make model developer. So if we come into here, we can do PHP Artisan make model developer. So this is going to be, again, basic and simple. So the model for the developer in its place will be very basic and simple. So let me just find it in the documentations. I do have the docs open on another screen that I'm using as well, just so I can refer to and not have to share that part anyway. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Yes. So I think, what do we need in here? So we're going to have to add so we'll leave name because we could do with a developer name. And we'll add, so we've got name, and then I think we should just have sort of a genre for now as well. Because that's really all we need, the developer name and then a genre. I'd like to add address, email, things like that, but geolocation. But for now, very basic, get things created, and we can just expand on the complexity from there. See things expand as we go and scale up as we go. So now what we need to do is create like a migration like this that contains the name and the genre, and obviously how we want the table structured, the developer table. So what we can do is back into the terminal, or let's just show that first in the docs. So as we can see, we make model. So we got migrations, and this is what we want. So we can just copy this and change flights to developers. Press enter on that. Come back into the code and we should have a new migration for developers. So if we was to check the user migration, we've already got this name attribute which we can use for here. Oops. Didn't copy that correctly. Development is lazy, if nobody has noticed that by now. We can put genre. So now this is going to create these sort of table headings that we need for the data, and structure of the table as well, as we can see here. Column, so that's all we're adding now, columns. Data types, so integer is a number, varchar, sorry, is obviously text, date time is a date. So we kind of want the same thing for our developers table when we finally migrate it over. So I think for now, that is all we need in terms of the migration. I will just double check something. Yeah, I think that's right. What we do want to do as well in our model is add a relationship to a game. So for example, if this data is being created from some sort of user panel or like a admin panel, someone's clicking on a box and it says create a developer, fill in the details. I think at that point there should be a capability to add a game. So if you're adding From Software, you should be able to add in all of the Souls games, Elden Ring, things like that, to attach to that developer. So we need to create that relationship between the developer and the game. So let's just see. Let's just save this. So what are we attaching here? We're attaching... Chat still isn't working. We're attaching a relationship to a developer. So we have to come inside the developer class model. And let's just type this out. When our keyboard works, my apologies. So this would be for games, even though we don't have a games class yet. And relationships. Okay, so it's something like this that we need, but I will just jump ahead and create our game model, just so when we refer to that into our developer as a relationship, it can find it and we're not getting errors and things like that. So let's copy this. Another copies. So game name, genre, I think that's correct. I think we should have a release date. Name, genre, release date. Platforms. Yeah, I think that'll do for the game. Yeah, that'll do for that now. So in here we want to return the developer. So it's going to be this. It's going to be has many, isn't it? So check. In fact, put that documentation up on here instead. So has one, but it's a developer in more cases is going to has many. So this is what we need to add to our game because it belongs to a developer. What have we got? One to many. Here we go. So that's exactly what I want there. So we'll paste that in and put game here. So as you can see, it's found that game class from here already. So basically, I think we need to copy this, go in here, and we can put developer belongs to related. Okay, that's cool. So let's check the migration. That looks right. Will this work? Let's have a try. PHP artisan migrate. Okay. Create developers table, done. So if we check this now and do a quick refresh, yes, developers, name, genre, cool. Okay. So we're also going to use a program called Postman. And as developers, we kind of use Postman to view routes and data. So we'll create our first route in a second. And I'll kind of try and explain what that does. But again, I am new to this. So if anybody watches and thinks, wow, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, you are correct. I actually don't, not yet, not properly. I am more versed in front-end technologies like Vue and Nuxt. JavaScript at the minute, I know that's sort of multifaceted, but that is where my sort of skill set lies, and this project does have a future plan in being the back-end API for a front-end gaming app that I want to create, where you can view games, view trailers, click links to buy, even buy direct, hopefully, have Discord chats in there. You can stream from it. It's like a dream app that I kind of want to make, but I want to start to learn back-end technologies, and this is the way that I've decided to do it and start kind of thing, and then we can build the front-end app once this is complex enough and it holds enough data, hopefully. But I do need a little bit of cash, a few £100 to pay for the servers and the Nova panel that I think I might need, which I'm going to show later on. But yeah, things like that I'll have to pay for further down the line when it gets a bit more complex and we need things like that. But for now, we'll just sort of use what we've got. I'm not quite sure why Postman's freaking out here. But let's just, so create gaming API already. and this will be our first request. But for now, let us just go and create our first root. Then we'll need to create a controller. So this is similar to what we've got. We don't actually need this anymore. So what I'm going to do is put the docs up on this screen and then put the docs up on this screen. So we're going to need a controller first, and let's just search it. I can't remember where the shortcut was for it. Controller, okay. So we're just going to pinch this. So the controller is what is going to validate the data that we're sending to the database and hopefully enable us to send data to the database and then can change it in the controller and the model. And then if anything gets a bit more complex, we're only changing it there. And obviously the migration needs to change, but we'll start here with this controller. So we want a developer controller. Okay. So that should now be in our folder structure. Models. No, it's not in config. HTTP controllers, developer controller. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of coding to get this right. Because let's just start at the very basic and say list developers. So this will effectively let us create what we're going on there. Endpoints to our API. So if other people want to use it for their applications or their front end and back end applications, they definitely can. I'll just respond to something. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're going to need a public function here. And this is going to be what? So this is going to be index, and then the next one should be store for storing. So let's. Oh, sorry, back's hurting a little bit. So let's just try. Developers. So what I want to do here is just like list all of the developers. So we'll get the developer class. That's going to have to be Yeah, let's see if we can import that. Correct. Yeah, so oh, my apologies. I'm reading this from another docs. But effectively, not getting into middleware just yet. We're just creating sort of routes and endpoints so we can kind of see the data as we go. So we only kind of need, we don't really need the index, I'm pretty sure. But as I remember, it's just good practice to have that in there. So can we return JSON here? I want to kind of return the response. So here's all our route types. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere we can just apologies if you can hear that. There's someone outside cleaning the car. I do need to shut that window. So where is this? Trying to find how we can return the developers. It's kind of, I'm just going to take this. It just doesn't copy. So let's just type that out. So it's return response JSON. Is it inside? Yes, it is. So namespace. Sure. There's. Do we not need request here? Nope. Okay. For now, I'm pretty sure that's all we need. Do we? Okay, let's just try them. add a request into there. Pretty sure that's right, but we'll find out soon enough, won't we? So then in here we need a route now. And then a get. And then it's going to be straight away developers. Where is that routes? This is what we need. Something very similar anyway. Oh, that's definitely something I can use. Oh, here we have developers. And here will be developers. Why is that not? And that's that imported. Just imported it twice. Okay. What has just happened there? This is freaking out. It's just automatically. Yeah, it's automatically changing the code as I save it. Won't let me import that class. That's right. Okay, okay. Right, that was painful, but we got there. So we can do 2 of these. And this one will be what's the first route we made? Index. And then we need a second one. Kicking off because it's not got any brackets. Strange. Definitely needs those brackets. For an array. Or this. That's looking good. So in here, we now need store. Christ, I cannot type today. Store developer. Oh, let's just take this. Whoops. Put that in here. This will be store. Just figure out where I am. So we're not going to do any validation just yet, but we are going to add validation in. So this is going to be create. So we've set a variable which is plural developers. We've set that to all of the developers that get returned into this variable. And then we're trying to return as a response, JSON response, which would just be like an object of developers. Now here we're trying to say developers because developer.create. And then we have to do a request, don't we, inside of that create, which will be request coming from the application to the server. And then we've got a validated object that we need to put on the end of that. So then we can take this, but we need to add. So we've already got this. We need to add in a response from the server. It doesn't need to be a function like that. So let me see. So I'm getting a few things incorrect here from looking at the documentation. So what do we need to create a developer? Let's just have a quick look. A name and a genre. So let's just do... So we can use this terminal. So nothing to migrate. We've now got a developers table that has... The ID will be created for us. It's got a name and a genre. Excuse me. Okay. I've not frozen yet in Streamlabs, which is a bonus. Oh shit is my green screen. Anyway, back to the docs. Let's try and create our first developer. So we know this needs store. So we can create a developer. Okay, let's go and try and do that. So we know it's /developers. So what it has to be is the address to our application in here, and then /developers. So what we'll do, and it needs to be a post because we're creating, and we need some JSON body. We need some data. So let's do, what is going on with my keyboard? So this is going to be name. And we can do on software, genre, which should be genre. Let's double check. Is that genres? Nope. Let's make sure we've got that right in the migration. Yep. Back to Postman. And then let's just put something simple like souls. So we've got the name, which is a string, that's correct. We've got the table, the genre, which is a string, that is correct. In the model, these attributes are fillable, and we're expecting it to create a relationship between a game once we create a game. So a developer has many games. A game belongs to a developer. So let's see what errors we get, because we're going to get some. So send. Not found, and that is because we don't have API in between our root. So let's just try that again. And we have a problem. 500 internal server error. So what we can do is inside our controller, before we return the response, we can dive dump the developer. And we'll just see what Postman spits back at us then. It's not even hit that. So we've got something wrong in our controller. So something is not right. Do we need... Do I need a foreign ID? Oh my god, I think I do, don't I? I only need that in my games migration. Developers. Have I set my route to developers? Yeah. No. Shit. The joys of being a developer, eh? It's not going to work without my controller, is it? Okay. Why does it? Because I can't spell at all. Developer controller. Developer controller. Okay. It's definitely there. Oh my goodness, I am stupid. I'm so sorry. Now if we go back to the migration, it should find it. Controller, that's not spelt right. Okay. Okay. I'm leaving it at that. Pick up. Can't find it. I can't find it. I don't know why that's freaking out, but it is. Okay. Back to Postman. Clear that response. Still don't get. Do we get a dive dump at the bottom? No, we don't. Okay, but we're still getting a 500 internal error. What does our app look like? Still on server. Is still running. Okay. Very weird. Let's check that rates file again. Yep, looks right to me. Motherfucker. Sorry. I'm so sorry. The bloody. It's what it's like learning Alphabet code. It's worse than playing Elden Ring. Jesus Christ. Back to Postman. Clear that response. Post. Still getting an issue. Have I changed it from here? Post. Developers. Developer controller. Store. So we're getting our app. We're not getting the dive dump. So this is working. This is working. That's working. Yeah, can't figure that out for now. Developers. Name, genre. Let me very quickly restart this server just in case. Still get an error. 500 internal. Right, I think at this point we should attempt to install Telescope, which is a very good error handling system. So let's go ahead and try and install that into our app. Take these two. Run the migrations. It's good. Let's do the same again. Restart this. And now, if we take our app path, a new tab, when we go to Telescope, let's make another request. And here that is. Let's have a look at this. Response. Too few arguments to function developer controller store, non-passed. Really? Just have a quick look at this, guys. Oh my god, I forgot to create a request. I have forgotten to create a request. Mother hubba. So we've got to do that first. So we can do it in here. PHP artisan make request store developer request. Okay. So HTTP requests store developer requests. Okay. So in here now, we're going to have to, we'll change this to true for now because we want to validate, but we don't want to validate strictly. I still want to include the validation. But yeah, so let's start off. We're going to need name. And then this is going to be required. Where do I get that from? And then it's going to have like a max string first, and then a max 255, which is what I've put in my older application that I'm currently using as a reference. And here's going to be the same, but for genre. And so have we got a validator in here? We haven't, have we? This will just be for to throw an error. So what we want is a response exception. And then we in here we can use Laravel errors. Off it on here, I've done something wrong here. This is kicking off this JSON. Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused again to what I'm up to. Laravel errors. And then we can just use the validator, can't we, that we're using. That's exactly what I need. Yeah, I've done something again here. If I take this, close these up, put that in there. And then we can do a response here, can't we, somewhere? Is it there? Yeah. Excuse me. Oh, wee. So I need a farm request here. Can't remember which one it is. What the hell? Oh, sorry to put it in. Can share that worked there before. Okay. So I'm happy now that this is working. Do I need... Where's this one? Contracts. Use contracts. Oh, that's going to be fun. There it is. Why is it not even finding it? Oh my god. Don't do that to me. I am the worst dev. Okay, that's all I wanted. Okay. Okay. Whatever. Give me an error. Let's try that again. Send. No. Denied. Peter said no. Requests. Too few arguments to function. Controllers, developer, controller. Right, okay. I know the problem. This. In my controller. Is it the controller? No. Is it the model? That's not the model. I will find it. It's okay. I'll find it. And then here we need store developer request. Oh, it'll work. Woo, we got our dump. Let's just take that dump out. For now. And we can always come back to it. I just want to see, because we got a 500 again. Bang, boom. We've got our developer. Just like that. So, what I kind of want to do now we've got that controller, developer created, is the same thing for a game. So if we come back to here, store game request. Where did we put that request? Alright. Store developer request. Jesus Christ. I want this return block. And so game name, that's fine. Genre, that's fine. What do we have in the model? Release date platforms. So that's going to have to be an API somewhere. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll just go strings for now, make it easier, to be honest. I feel a bit overwhelmed, let's say. So now this needs to be a date, I believe. In fact, do I need a release date? I'm just going to go platforms. And it can be a string for now. We'll convert it to an array at some other point. We'll take that off there. I don't think we've made a migration for this yet, have we? Yeah, we've only got one for a game, a developer. So make migration, create games table. Just double check. So here's our games table. Let's steal those from there because we do have strings just like that. But in here, we're going to need one of these, but this is going to be a foreign ID for developer ID, so we can tie a game to a developer, and a game can belong to a developer. That's what we need to do. So that's going well. Let's do a quick migrate. Just double check we get the games table, which we do, and we don't get any of our. So I've messed that up somewhere. I didn't save it. So if we do mother frigger, developer ID not found, so that needs to go in here. Let's just try and migrate that again. Developer ID not found. Need to add in the developer class here somehow. We'll do that in a second. Get back to the docs. So yeah, we can do various things with this and make it nullable, constrained, so that when that won't need, and then we can do a cascade on delete. Okay, so let us just save this. Into gaming API, and this is create a developer. Oh, let's try. Just trying to do something, Postman. It doesn't like it for the Mac though, does it though? Let me just try and reopen this. I thought I had a collection set up, but clearly not. Okay, save it into a new collection. Which it is really freaking out now. Come on, Postman. Okay, let's not bother saving it, for God's sake. It's fine. So now we want to create a game. So we can use this. And this is going to be games. Back to our roots and add a bit further, a bit further away. So we'll put games. And we can take both of these. Developers. Okay, so games, game, game. So we need to make that controller. Which is in this one, make controller. Game. So now we've got a game controller. Let's literally copy both of those functions. Can put them in here. Game. 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 Okay. Just put these into here. Let's get our validator in there. Just couldn't bloody. Spelled controller wrong again. My God. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Postman. Post and create a game. Let's just nick the body from here so we're not typing it out again. So we want I forget instantly. Name, genre, platforms. Very basic. Okay. And I'm just gonna very cheekily put PS5 here. Send that. Forbidden 403. Think I need well, I'm creating it through Postman. Is the developer ID? Nope. Okay, let's check. Telescope. Requests. Game 403. Response. Exception. Name, genre, platforms. Name, genre, platforms. Oh shit. Let's put some proper data in there, shall we? So it's still getting a 403. This action is unauthorized. Aha, sorry. It will be unauthorized. Let's try that again. 500. What is our developer? So we have why will it not? Why will it not paste? Why will it not run? It is not hiding down here somewhere. There we go. Undo that. Weird. Anyway, got a developer ID of 1. Developer ID 1. Send. 500. Just put that to ID. It's all nullable. Okay, we need to figure out why I can't. What have we got? What's it telling me I've got open? Where? What the fuck is going on? Oh, okay. So we've lost our games table, and there we go. It's back. Now we can create a game. Clear. Create a game. Yes, sir. Only 2 because, yes, sir. Oops. Sorry about that. Yeah, only took me, how long have I been streaming? It took me an hour and 44 minutes. But we got there. So now let's refresh. We should have a game. We have Elden Ring. But it's not applied. There's a developer ID, which is what I wanted it to. Because we need to connect. Oh, bollocks. For some reason, that I feel it needs to be that. Okay, and then double check. The controller that doesn't need the relationship. It's only the models, isn't it? Well, this belongs to... No, this has many games. And then this belongs to developer. With a developer ID. Has many game. That's correct. Why is it not applied, that ID? Let's just try and create another developer. It's just very basic data for now. Now we've got Bethesda. We've got Bethesda ID of 3. So if I now try and create a game, with a developer ID of 3, it's not created that developer ID. That's a problem. I need to figure that out. What's going on with this? I definitely don't need developer ID in that protected class. Well, I do, but it's for game, isn't it? And it's in there. Oh yeah. So let's just change this. Let's do migrate fresh and get rid of all the data. Back into here. Create Bethesda. That's successful. Come into Fallout. Create that. That's successful. Back into the database. Refresh. Still no ID. Alright, well, that's because I rushed it, didn't I? So, migrate fresh. Create the dev. Into the database. ID of 1. In here. Create a game. Back to the database. Oh, still no developer ID. What is going on? What have I not done? To create that ID. Um, do I need to create a new pivot table here? No. Okay. Let's have a look at our request. Yeah, developer ID's got to go in here. And it's got to be... This one's a bit weird because we know it's nullable. And we know we need an ID, so it's gonna have to be exists. Yeah, so it's gonna be developers ID. So migrate afresh again. Create the developer. There's an ID of 1. Developer ID of 1 because Fallout 4 belongs to Bethesda. And we've got a developer ID. Fantastic. So let's go to the database. Refresh that. Developer ID. Yes, sir. So that means now this should work. Maybe running before we can walk. Let's just check. No, that should be okay to show the developers at the very minimal. Can I add? Not that. And then that would be /ID. So that would be /1 in our case. Method not allowed. Huh? Of course it's allowed. Just double check that request. means. So that's a specific developer. No, that's a 500. Why would that be a 500? So the developer controller. Okay. I've not even added in the bloody view for the controller. So we can actually list. Oh yeah, we have actually. This one's a list here. That should work. I don't know why. There's a reference. Still giving me a 500. I don't understand that. Too few arguments. Non-pass. We just had this problem. What was it? God damn you. Just give me that for now. Let's restart this server. Just to make sure. And hopefully too few arguments, but I don't need to pass any arguments. So let's too few arguments on controller, developer controller index. Oh, it's the too few arguments. There we go. Fuck you. We got there. We got there. So, can we do the same for games? No. Well, that'll be why. Yay! Got a game, developer ID, awesome. Let's just have a quick look at our... We've done this. We've done this. This. And this. Boosted it along. So let's just put that up there with that. And separate them out. Okay. I've not done too bad today. Started the application. We can see the data now. We can see the data in the database. So let's just go and create another developer. And have this from software. Tools. Create. $500 again. So there's the developers, that's working. Post, that should still work. What have we changed? What have we changed in the store developer controller? Name, genre, big increments. What have we changed? We haven't changed anything. Call to undefined a method. Developer controller show. You're taking the piss. I've not got that in there. Oh my god. There we go. Create the game. Elden Ring, which I do hope to be streaming at some point. I am on the DLC at the minute. Hardest thing I've ever done. Most stressful thing I've ever done in terms of games. Let's create that game. Okay, so that's where we've just gone wrong with our manual creations of these things. So now let's refresh this. So FromSoft is actually developer ID of 2, which we need to be careful of. We've got Elden Ring with a developer ID of 1, so we can't have that. So let's delete this. Yeah, save that. Back into here. And this needs to belong to FromSoft. Okay. So now, if we come here and put 1 is not found. And no, I need to update my other file, 1 second. So in our developer controller, we need to add in so what we're going to do is pinch this and show. Let's have a quick. So this, we're going to have to find our file. And in here, we'll have our developer ID. And then we can just do this. That should work. We want to find a developer with ID of 1. Tell me there's a problem here with GET requests. No, it's definitely a GET. Try that again. And there we go. So now we can identify a developer by its ID, which is successful, to say the least. And I think we should add that in for a game and then wrap this up for today. Into the developer controller, grab our show into the game controller, paste that in. We want game. I'm not so sure we're finding our failing by ID this time. We are, aren't we? We should be. Actually, we can do this a different way, can't we? We don't need. We can say game with. And this will be developer. Sorry. And then now we can do a find or fail. And this would be the ID, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's just try that now. Cool. And we see the developer now attached to the game when we return the game. Yay! We've got quite a bit achieved there. I'm actually quite chuffed with that. I'm going to have a look at my stream and see how good it was, because according to Streamlabs, they say it's even working. But let's just go through what we've done. So, we've used Laravel as our framework for creating this API and this database. We installed it using all these commands, and then we installed the API, which I got from this command, PHP Artisan install API. That then gave us structure with this database. It also gave us this roots file that we needed. Then we had to create models, controllers, requests, and migrations. We connected our data to a database. I'm currently using Table Plus. So as you can see, we've kind of got, let's get that out here, 2 games. 1 second, I'm so sorry. We've got 2 developers, and we've created them using Postman, and we've created certain endpoints within our code in this file here. So we can do a post request to create a developer, and the same to create a game, and we can also show a game by ID, show a developer by ID. When we do view a game by ID, which is the ID of 1, we can see the developer that game's tied to. But what really we need to try is with a developer and a game ID. So that's what we need to set up next in our roots. So we can find the developer by the ID, and then find the game by ID that is associated to that developer. So just a bit of context. We are trying to build something like this, where this is kind of the biggest one and most successful. You can see how many of these companies, looking at that's a little bit daunting. You You can see how many of these companies, how many of these exist. There is only one. How many companies use this database? But for example, you can see they have all these games, gaming companies, developers. So literally we've just added these two bits of information for now. We will create a nice looking front end for our application, because currently this is what our front end looks like. We have just kind of got two developers. And if we were to go to games, you can see we've just got two games, and this is kind of what our front end interaction to our database looks like. And we want it to look a bit better than this. So yeah, that's just the first initial stream to get out of the way. I have planned to do multiple streams, multiple videos, 2 hours plus, and just see where we can get with this. But the next point would be to maybe add something like subscribers. So then what we could do is we could add like fans, and a person subscribes to a game, so then we could create that relationship, and maybe even create a custom command where we can send subscribers an email based on stipulation. For example, if the release date of the game is within 3 months, or if there's new download content or new seasons, things like that, we can create a custom command that will send all our subscribers emails and things like that. And then we can get all this set up before we start creating any front-end interaction for this. I would like to use and create a Nova panel, but as you'll see, if we take a look at Laravel Nova, which is a very nice front-end admin panel, as you can see, that we can use to sort of create developers and things like this. But it isn't cheap. Won't even let me look at the pricing page yet, but it's around £100. So I'm going to try and source those funds somehow, because I'm hoping that this becomes a little bit more popular than what I'm expecting, and some developers out there, including yourselves, might even use this. So in the future, I'm going to outline details of Discord and things like that you can join and chat along with me. But for now, that is the initial app set up. Again, just to go over, we can manipulate the data in Postman. Not that, but we can return developers. We can return a game ID, which tells us what developer that game is attached to. So we've got Fallout, and that's part of the Bethesda developer table. So that's it for today. I don't think I'm going to go any further with that. We've achieved quite a lot. What I will do is try to... So let's just shut that server down. And then let's try to create a repository for this, but we'll use the GitHub desktop, in fact. So what I want to do is add existing, find the file that we are looking at. So it's this one. So create a repository. And add a bit of a description. Local path, that's correct. We'll create that repository. Got main, so initial commit. Created developer and game. Publish this, make it public so everyone can see. So I'll have to call this, unfortunately, GameStash API. Okay, so I'm going to upload these Twitch videos to YouTube, and I'll put all the links to the APIs and GitHub and everything in the description so you can see. But apart from that, if you did join me on this little project, thank you very much. Please join me again. Just look out for the little Twitch notification. I'm hoping to be streaming quite a lot. If you have any advice or anything you think I can change, upgrade, improve, stop doing, start doing, please let me know. I'd love your feedback, and I'd love for people to code along eventually and learn how to code with me, and we can take that from there and hopefully create some sort of small community that we can do this together as a hobby. So thank you if you joined me. I do really appreciate your time on a Saturday afternoon, but I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.